What's happening, everybody? It's K2 from the United Souls crew. We're here getting ready to do a double rewind on episode 14, the Grand Canyon, and episode 15, Monument Valley, as we start making our way closer to the end of section 2. We're already making our way all the way to Four Corners. We got a couple more episodes left before we close out the second section of the walk. But right now we got Cam here, we got Rocco here. We're gonna do a deep dive. We're gonna go in, gonna look at a little bit more of what the South Kaibab Trail looks like on Google Earth. We're gonna go through that, kind of give an idea as we go down the trail. That's gonna be super cool. So I'm really excited about everybody joining us today. So super excited. Today we're here for our double rewind. We got Rocco in the house. Rocco has experience at the Grand Canyon, and Rocco actually has his own story from the South Kaibab Trail, the trail that we walked down in episode 14. What's happening, Rocco? How you doing, man?
Awesome. Great to be here again. This is one of those episodes that really touched me because I could feel exactly what you guys were feeling because I've been there. I've been on that trail and almost died in there in the Grand Canyon. So I could totally relate to the effort and the extremes that you guys were experiencing while you were out there.
Definitely, man. No joke, man. I'm excited to have you share a little bit about your experience. Me and Cam are going to talk about our trip down to the bottom, and we're going to also sprinkle in some footage of our trip out of the Grand Canyon because we didn't really share any of that footage, but we did get some good clips of us trying to get out. So we'll kind of sprinkle them in through this interview, get some more clips going. But all around episode 14, the Grand Canyon, there was a lot of stuff going on. There's something that we actually didn't even get to film, or I didn't get to put this footage in, but right before we got to the Grand Canyon, some of the stuff that we did along the way to raise funds, like we were saying, is we would approach, in this case, we approached a hotel. It was called the Grand Canyon Hotel. And again, like the vibe of our walk was like, we have cameras, we have our laptops. It's amazing what we can do, low budget with what we are, and really put out a nice product. And we went to a couple different hotels because we'd be trying to, stay at different places. And we made a really sweet deal with the Grand Canyon Hotel. And they let us stay there for a week, gave us food, all kinds of stuff. Because we basically were like, hey, let us shoot you a little promo video for your hotel chain that you could show at conventions and things like that. So we did a whole bunch of little shots, people diving into the pool, sitting at the bar, taking their dog for a little walk in the dog park. And we put together a nice little promo commercial for them. This was like on our way to the Grand Canyon. And then while we were at the hotel, we also met this other group of children. They were called the Dandelion Dancers. They were these Native American kids, and they saw us have cameras and doing these little shots at the hotel. And then they asked us, hey, could you help us out and, film a little music video for us? So it was like, bam, bam, we were starting to get like work because these were paid gigs that we were able to, have a little crew, because me, Cam, Jordan, Jono, we all had experience being on a production, being on a film crew, being, all this kind of stuff. So we were pretty much a little film crew ready for action, anything that we could find to jump into. But that was a really cool thing that we did right before we got to the Grand Canyon, kind of in between the last episode and episode 14. We were able to make some money, get some good rest, and meet some new people. So that was kind of some of the stuff that we would be doing behind the scenes to fundraise, get money, get exposure, and at the same time help different artists and help different companies utilize the technology that we have at our fingertips these days. So if you saw at the beginning of episode 14, we are hanging out at Bedrock City, a little travel back through time into prehistoric land. Kind of when you're on your way, leaving Flagstaff, going up to the Grand Canyon, you pass this huge Flintstones campground. They've got big dinosaurs, a whole big, kind of like a mini theme park of sorts of all kinds of Flintstones related stuff. So that was pretty cool. It was fun to hang out, walk around there. And that's where we met up with one of our first actual official United Souls new walkers, our friend Vicky. We met her in Flagstaff. We kind of mentioned her in the last episode, but Vicky, she came out and just started walking with us. She was ready. She was at a point in her life where she's like, yeah, I think I need to walk a little bit with you guys and see what's kind of out there, and was feeling the vibe and came out with us. And she joined us maybe 3 or 4 other times along the walk. She would, walk with us for maybe a month, head back home, then she'd fly out or take a bus out another time. So Vicky came in and out throughout the walk. So that was super cool. Much love to Vicky. She was a real trooper and jumped right into the crew, and was all about the mission and all about what we were doing. So it was exciting. This was our first official walker. We had a whole bunch. This was kind of a kickoff, because after Vicky, then we started having a lot more people join us as we kind of started moving then through the different towns and things. But yeah, I remember when we got to the Grand Canyon, it was the 4th of July. There was lots of people there. Everybody was kind of hanging out and partying. So it was a great time to be at the Grand Canyon. We camped out there for a week. And then we kind of made the decision, we got to go down to the bottom. We got to take the trail. We got to go see the Colorado River. So that was something that we kind of didn't quite know what we were getting into, as you could see in some of the footage. But that was a huge adventure that we went down. We took the South Kaibab Trail. That was all right. We also got Campaign here today, doing our little double deep dive with us for 14 and 15. What's happening, Campaign?
What's cracking, y'all? I'm good. How you doing, man? You guys feeling good over there?
No doubt.
Yeah, man, we're feeling good, man. We're feeling some of that Louisiana weather, man. That humid, hot, feeling like you're wearing a sweater outside up here up in the northeastern states of PA. I don't know if it's hot and baking out there, but we're like 88, 90 degrees, like just humid, and rain and thunderstorms every day. We have like crazy lightning and thunderstorms the last couple nights. It's definitely been some real weather out this way.
I definitely had a taste of that hot, humid weather. I was out in Palm Springs. It's such a difference, just like, a couple hundred miles, like going east, it was definitely feeling like the desert over there. It's a lot cooler over here, but yeah, it was ridiculously hot this weekend out in Palm Springs. Oh my God.
Yeah, man. That's the one nice thing about Cali, man. It seems like one of my favorite things is almost every night you still got that ocean breeze coming through. No matter how hot it gets baking during the day, it's just like nice and cool at night. You got the ocean breeze coming through, ripping through the mountains, just kind of channeling it through all the little cities. But that was one of my favorite things. No matter how hot it got during the day, it was always like nice and tolerable at night. In some of these places, it still is like, just feels the same like as it was during the day, where it's just like still just hot and unbearable at night, and just sticky and wet and all that.
It changes, as like I said, because it was like at nighttime, it was still ridiculously hot over there out in Palm Springs, man. So yeah, the closer you get to the ocean, that breezes in, man. It feels good. Definitely feels a lot better out here.
For sure, man. Well, cool. Well, we're gonna kick it off to Rocco. Rocco, we were just kind of talking about the South Kaibab Trail, and he was talking about a clip that he noticed. What's happening, Rocco?
What's up? Yeah, this episode definitely hit me to the heart, because I was on that actual trail that you guys walked down, and I almost died in the Grand Canyon. So I had similar experiences to you guys, where on my way out, I ran out of water, and I had to be rescued, basically. So I noticed that you had major equipment malfunctions. Like in the beginning of the video, your pack was falling apart. How did you address that? And did you throw your pack down to the bottom and then just walk down to get it?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I was
strap it to the back of a mule.
Yeah. I was thinking about it a couple times. A couple of those little hills were like a nice little slide slope, like maybe you can slide down this part here. But I don't know what I did. I rigged it some kind of way to fix it. That bag, I hadn't really tested it for like quite that kind of hike. You know what I mean? It was one of those type of bags that was, had like a frame on it and it was supposed to be supportive. But yeah, I just didn't have the tools for like some of these little screws and stuff that was on there, and they were just loosening up as I would walk, I guess, and like they just kind of like came apart. I lost a washer or a nut or something like that around the way somewhere, and it just it became unbearable. I had to put my shorts on my neck just so that it would stop the pressure and stop like feeling like it was knives on my neck. I figured out something though to balance the weight or something, because that was barely, we had barely made it like a mile down the hike, and it was already falling apart. And I was like, what did I get myself into? Yeah, no, it was great.
That seems to be a common theme on this walk. What did I get myself into?
Yeah, that sheer optimism kept us going. But once we would hit a big wall, it'll be a realization like, oh shit, okay, gotta figure this out.
Yeah, man. I guess maybe we should just jump into a Google Earth segment. But yeah, so here we are on our little Google Earth. You can kind of see the Grand Canyon, this big old crack right in the middle of Arizona. And the one thing that's interesting about the Grand Canyon that I didn't really realize is that it's kind of there's multiple levels of it. There's like at least 3 different levels. It's not just kind of a straight down. You kind of got to walk, switch back and forth, and then you kind of go flat for a little bit, and then you kind of walk a little bit more. I'm gonna come over here. This is basically the South Kaibab Trail where we walked, where you kind of start off from up here and then you kind of work your way down. And it's a long zigzag walk to get down to the Colorado River, and we can zoom in down there. Then that's where we kind of crossed the bridge, was right here. And then as you can see, the little this trail, as it like zigzags back and forth and then just kind of wraps itself down and around here as you work your way kind of on this little peak line. This is a nice part of the walk when you're kind of walking on this little crest right here. This little walk right here was really nice. You're kind of walking right along the edge, and there's a couple spots, man, where if you kind of slip and misstep, you're going to go down into the canyon for sure. There's kind of a couple spots that were pretty wild, but yeah, you just kind of work your way down. Pretty amazing trail. But yeah.
Let's see. There was a spot.
There was a spot there where I had kind of put the camera over the edge to see, and I think about that all the time, like just how stupid I was being while I was doing that, because I could have failed so easily. And when I look at the clip, I think about it like, oh my gosh, like that's that moment when I could have failed. Like I could have easily fallen. Just, oh my God, it scares me. And I think about it, and I always, it's just like that was one of those moments where I was like, man, I could have been on the list of people that fell off the Grand Canyon. Like just, yeah, Jono slipped at one point. I think we got that clip on camera, and it was like one of those areas. It was one of those areas, there was no railing or anything. So like if you slipped and really fell, it was a wrap.
Yeah, oh man.
So this is like we said, there's a couple of different trails, and maybe Rocco can mention a little bit more of his adventure, because he kind of went down one way and then you came up another way, right? The Bright Angel Path. That's what you were saying?
Yeah, the Bright Angel Trail. Yeah, it was like a 3 or 4 mile walk along the river to get to that trail to get out. And that was probably one of my demises, because I carried the same amount of water on the way out that I did on the way down, not realizing that the hike out is going to be twice as hard as the hike down. And the water source that I was trying to get to resupply my water was dry.
Yeah.
So I got, finished all my water thinking I got another half mile to the water source, and it wasn't there. And I still had another 5 miles to get out of the canyon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember us thinking about trying to figure out what would be our best point, because I remember, because it was, do we want to walk a couple extra miles and it looked like it was going to be easier on Bright Angel, or just go back the way we came? And, it was, like you were saying, it was a little shorter on the way we came down, but, and I think we were just like, let's just tough it through and take the shorter path. But that was like, I don't know, probably probably the backwards way. We probably should have took the easier walk and had it be a couple miles longer. I don't know. It was really hard to decide that one. That was a tricky decision.
Yeah, man, that I remember us doing that because we thought we were, gonna be able to make it, and that would be no problem. But yeah, as soon as we started to kind of get out there, and the sun was a big factor. It was really hot. It was really hot.
Yeah. Yeah, it got so much hotter as you got closer down to the bottom. It just increased. I thought it would get cooler as we got down into the canyon, but for some reason it just got hotter and hotter the deeper that we went.
That was crazy. That bridge was it was great once we finally got down to the bottom. And I don't know why I just knew that going back up in my head that was going to be easier, but I don't know why I thought that. When it gets kind of flat right there down there, I remember getting to that point, and like that was a feat. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh God, we finally made it here, like to something that was like a flat kind of area. That's where there was a little like our savior box there that had a couple of things and like a water or something like that in it. And we laid out on that one for a really long time.
Yeah.
Hours.
Definitely want to try to sprinkle in some clips of our walk out.
Packing up, getting ready to head back up the mountain. It's like what, 6 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, 5 to 6.
Big animals.
They look tired too. Stumbling.
Barely on our way back up. It's getting rough. It's getting real rough. We got some heavy packs, man, on a uphill ascent. We went up the steep way.
My face says everything. Yeah. And 6:45. Well, in 45 minutes we've gotten here. Still see that damn bridge. That means we're in for it.
And there's some really, I forget the different time check-ins, but I mean, I think it was like, 5 hours had passed that we had made it like maybe a mile, and usually we're down, we had it pretty much to where we were getting like, almost like 3 to 5 miles in an hour, rather than 5 hours and getting 1 mile. So it was like, a whole other world of trying to gauge where we're going to be. And I think the whole walk to get out took us about 14 hours to get out of there, because we left at like 6 in the morning, and it was like dark by the time we got up to which was the other scary thing, is like we didn't even get out of there until it was dark out. So we were like walking the top of the trail, some of these switchbacks, and it was just like dark. I don't even know if we had like flashlights or I don't remember what we were doing, but I remember it was dark when we got up to the top.
We really didn't. We didn't have any lights or anything like that, or maybe like a lantern or something, but it wasn't really like, yeah, we didn't expect that. So I don't think we had lights like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so we ended up, our situation was where on our way up, you know, kind of like with Rocco, where we kind of figured, all right, this is how much water we came down with us. So this is how much water we're going to take back and make it to the top. But I mean, it was so hot down there, and we were just chugging water at the beginning, and we ran out of water just really fast, and ended up in the same kind of situation, almost like you know, that you guys ended up on the Crab Flats Trail, where you know, with Jono, and you know, without water, your muscles just start cramping up, and your legs lock up, and it's hard to walk, and you know, it's kind of like the first stages of, you know, dehydration and not being able to, you know, continue on. And we were getting to that point, and then we'd kind of sit and just try to lay down and walk a little tiny bit more and then just sit. And we were kind of all there for each other, just trying to take it little by little. And I remember we were kind of like, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way coming out of the Grand Canyon, and this guy was walking down, and and we were talking to him, and yeah, and jump in, Cam. I'm thinking I got this right. He was on his way down, and we were coming up, and we stopped to talk to him, and we were like, yeah, we're in for it. You know, he was like, all right, you know, to kind of just keep going. And he told us a little bit. He's like, he had just got to the top. He had just walked out of the Grand Canyon and realized he had forgot his wallet back down at the bottom. And he's a guy who works on the water treatment plant that's down there, and he like works a week down in the canyon, then he goes and he's out for a week, then he's in for a week. So it was like he would be out for a week without his wallet, his ID, his cards, all his stuff. So when we're just getting ready to start, we're pretty much done for. This guy had already walked all the way to the top. He's on his way back down, and he's almost all the way back down. And then we were just like, all right, dude, we'll see you later. And he was like, all right, good luck to you guys, you know, probably thinking we weren't going to see each other again. So then skip, you know, 5-6 hours later, we're probably now 3/4 of the way up to the top, not at the surface again. And we were pretty much at that point, like done for. Like Jono had no more energy left. We were just kind of there, just in limbo, not really sure of what to do, still had no water. We had mules walk by us. We were trying to beg them to take our packs to lighten our load. They were like, sorry, we can't take any of your stuff. And then this guy, I can't remember. Do you remember what his name was? But then our buddy, he's coming back out of the Grand Canyon now then. So he had walked up, down, and now he's back on his third trip within like 5-6 hours span. He's gone up, down, and now he's 3/4 of the way back up. And we kind of explained our situation, and we learned a little bit more about him. Here's a clip of him right here. Boop.
Try to do it all in 2 hours.
But
What's your name again?
Jerome. Oh, man. Jerome the Ranger. Knowledgeable Ranger. Yeah. Helped us out more than anybody.
Actually, I'm not a ranger. I'm a sewage treatment plant operator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
We irrigate the indigenous plants and stuff that are around.
Oh, that's cool. How do they filter the water that's the drinking water in the little...
We don't filter it because it comes out of a natural aquifer, an underground aquifer on the north side. Mm-hmm. And so we don't. It goes right into a catch basin, which is it's in a cave way out there. And we catch the water. So that water that was in the creek, that's the same water, but we catch it before it comes out of the canyon or out of the cave. And then the water comes down through the pipeline. It goes up to Indian Garden, which is on the right angle trail. And then at that point, we pump it up to the south.
That's all good.
Well, I'm riding and I can get more when you get up to the bathroom.
Yeah, but there's some up there?
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be.
Where's yours, Ken?
It's over there by my back.
Yeah, I had to go down to get my stuff and come back.
How about just a sleeping bag in a tent, guys?
I have to talk to Ray. I'm pretty full, man. I don't know what he's got.
But yeah, so he helped us out, and he basically told us about a lockbox that was like maybe half a mile, a little bit further, kind of off to the side, and it was like set up for the rangers and different people, like an emergency stash box that, you know, basically saved our life. It had water inside of it. It had some like fruit snacks and some little Pringles cans, and yeah, that kind of like was what got us out. I'll never forget the code to the locks box was 777. So if you ever in trouble, I don't know where to tell you it is, but if you come across a little lock box, try 777. There might be some little treats. You might find some Pringles, maybe a little water, but that was it was amazing how that worked out. I mean, he was like, totally an angel that helped us, because we were just, pretty much done for. And if it hadn't been for him forgetting his wallet, going up and down, and just the timing of everything, it was just pretty wild how it, saved our day. Probably what ruined his day of having to go up and down, like technically like saved us completely, because I don't know what we would have done, because it was getting dark and there weren't a lot of people on the trail anymore, and we were, we might have just had to just lay there and sleep on the rocks there, and probably wouldn't have moved. I don't know what was going to happen, but yeah, that was huge. That was like, how we got out of our situation, at least. And Rocco, do you want to share a little bit more about how you were feeling and what happened to you when you were dealing with that?
Super similar situation, because I ran out of water, and then I ran out of food. I had a little bit of food left, so I started eating that. And then I basically got to the point where I physically couldn't walk anymore. And I laid down on the trail, took out my sleeping mat, and I wrote a note that said, I'm about to cry. I said, I need help. This is not a joke. Yeah. And I just kind of laid there.
Yeah.
And then this guy came. Came by, and same thing. He he was going down. He was only a day hiker, though, and he hiked way farther than most people do. I was still about 4 miles from the top. Yeah. And he gave me all his water and all his food, and kind of helped me up and helped me walk. And then I got another mile, and then some other people who walked further than normal. They weren't going to the bottom. They were just checking out the trail. Gave me more water, and then like this group of people basically dragged me out of the Grand Canyon. Yeah. So it was the same thing. I was like, if that guy wasn't there, I would have just laid there until somebody came.
Yeah. Hey, did you have any types of feelings creep in, like how you were feeling before when you and Jono experienced that, like very, where you're not sure what's going to happen next, and that going back in your head? Did thoughts start creeping back into your head when we were trying to get out? Like, how were you dealing with that mentally, since you had already, a month before that, dealt with another pretty serious thing where you guys were battling with thoughts in your head? How did this feel in comparison to that? And did you have any of those similar feelings? Were you able to turn them off quicker, or was it worse? Or how are you feeling with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think with this, I didn't have those same type of feelings. This was more exhaustion. I think I probably felt more like Jono was feeling. We all probably felt like Jono was feeling with the exhaustion. But yeah. for that though, the difference between that was we didn't know where we were going.
Yeah.
We didn't know. I didn't know what. Like, it was like, I just hope I'm going the right way on that. Like, where we were going on the Grand Canyon, I knew, like, we just have to keep following this path and we can get to the top. So, like, that certainty, like, kept me kind of cool. You know what I mean? Or because we weren't alone, and we had each other. You know what I mean? So,
So that wrapped up our episode 14, the Grand Canyon. We're going to roll right into episode 15. In this episode, we started off, we met this woman, Ilene, on our roadside jewelry stand. We were getting into Monument Valley. We're getting closer to Four Corners, the end of section 2. And we spent a lot of time checking out a whole bunch of different areas when we got into the Navajo Nation. Once you get into the upper, like the northeast corner of Arizona, that whole corner is Navajo Nation. There's a little patch of Hopi and some other nations within that, but it's majority the Navajo Nation. And places like Red Mesa, Tuba City, a whole bunch of little areas right around there. We went to Elephant Feet. There was also the Canyon de Chelly. We got some clips of that coming up in the next video. That was a whole other amazing canyon that we'll talk about next time. But so this next one was Monument Valley. Amazing landscapes. You can see us. We found a really cool campsite. We're still on our Google Earth deep dive as well, where you can see there's a shot on there. Cam's got his hands up where the mittens are, but we were camped out basically right here, and you can kind of see these. They're called the mittens. These two hands that are right here, these outcroppings, and there's just amazing landscapes throughout here. You can see a spot where they shot like all kinds of old Hollywood westerns, and all kinds of old movies were shot out in these desert locations in places like Monument Valley. But this shot right here is pretty much where we were at and camping, and we were shooting down in this little valley. I think like right here we saw the Doomster trip on a rock. We were shooting parts of our little epic kung fu saga right here on the mountainside. I was doing the little Karate Kid crane pose in the wind when we were trying to get that shot. Yeah, man. So we'd find these cool locations, and yeah, like we were saying before, it's like all right, get out the sword, let's do some shooting and shoot some scenes. But Monument Valley is definitely an amazing place to take, to just out of this world terrain. One of the first spots where it's just seemed like other planet type of landscapes when you start getting into these just weird I don't know what they even are, these outcroppings of just mountains that are just like almost extruded up from the earth. I really don't understand if those are buttes or what those are called, these like just straight up like extruding straight up.
Well, this was all an inland sea.
Yeah, I guess that would be the
Back in
thing.
the day.
Yeah, this was one of those like memorable places too. And I look at all of this it's obviously it's a landmark that's beautiful, and you've seen these pictures everywhere all the time through time. And I never thought I'd be at that place like that. Like, oh wow, this is that place that I've seen in those pictures. Like you always see paintings, or seem like Bob Ross maybe painted this or something like that at one point. I don't know, but like. Just like it's movies and all of this stuff, and to be there, and for us to like try to shoot our own movie there too. Like it calls for it. It's just landscape that's just the shapes are amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
I got the feeling like Mars when I was out in that area, like you were on a different planet. It was like extraterrestrial space.
Yeah, there's a few spots like that that are just so different. Like I think about that when I think about like the Badlands in South Dakota, and a couple of these spots that are just like you feel like you're on a whole other planet all of a sudden. But yeah, I just want to double back too and just make a couple comments about that. I hope you guys enjoyed that really interesting interview with Ilene. She was explaining just a little bit more about the history of what it takes let alone as a native person in the United States living within a reservation, kind of the hoops that they have to jump through to start a business. But even as a woman, if you caught that, like this was in, again, 2006, but she was going to be the first woman to be granted a business license on the Navajo Nation, which, it was a big deal even at that point. And that she had said, I think it was maybe 12 years or something that she had been in the process of trying to get a permit to be able to do stuff, and having to go through not only their own hoops of elders and tribal courts and councils, but having to go through also the United States government for permits and passes and all kinds of stuff. And I'm gonna put some links right here, because she actually does have an Airbnb that you can stay at. So if you're ever out in this area in Monument Valley, check out Ilene Livingstone. That was who we interviewed. This is her B&B spot. Got great reviews. I'm sure she'd be happy to show you where Teardrop Rock is right behind where she has her little Airbnb. But looks like a really awesome spot. And much love to Ilene for taking the time and talking to us a little bit about starting a business. And she also, some insights on what it's like to live in a nation within a nation. So that pretty much does it for this double rewind episode, catching everybody up. We hope you enjoyed it, taking a little trip down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, checking out Monument Valley. Two incredible, these are bucket list type of episodes to go check out, and make sure you go there. Make sure you go stay at Ilene Livingstone spot if you do make it your way out there. She's got great reviews on Airbnb, so make sure you check that out. Thank you so much, Campaign, for joining us. You have any final little thoughts before we close out for the night?
Oh man, I'm always feeling good, man. I'm enjoying this ride, and man, I just want everybody to stick with us, man, and keep walking our walk with us, and live that life, man. Have a good one. See you next time.
All right, peace, brother. See you later, man. Appreciate it. And thank you so much to Rocco hanging out with us, going down with a deep dive, sharing your stories, man. Do you got anything else you want to touch on?
Thanks for having me again, and the adventure keeps continuing. The stories get better and better, and this one was one that really I felt, because I was there with you guys. May have been 2 years later, but I was in the same exact spot and the same exact situation. Keep walking, everybody.
Yeah, that's great, man. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our videos. Please share with anybody else you think would enjoy this inspiring adventure. As always, stay inspired. It's all about putting one foot in front of the other. Keep on walking. I hope that this adventure is inspiring you guys as much as it continues to inspire us. Till next week, we'll catch you again soon. Peace and love, everybody.
Had a nice little lunch. What time is it now? 9:30. 3.5 hours? Did we leave at 6?
Yeah.
2.5 miles. 3.5 hours. Serious stuff trying to get back up this thing.
What, 5.5 miles into it? Something like that. I don't even know if you heard me, but got 1.5 miles left. And yeah, so yeah, a lot getting up here. It's crazy.
What's up? We just made it to the top of the Grand Canyon from down in the canyon. Took us
about 14 hours and 45 minutes. Ain't that about it?
quite an experience.
Oh,
every incredible experience in every way. I'm glad we accomplished it though, man. We stuck it through and made it happen. Took our time. And probably made it up one of the toughest climbs that I've been through so far personally, man. That was the toughest. That was the toughest.
Oh yeah. Tough than a bitch. I'm in pain.
Campaign.
I am in pain and I'm campaign. Hello. Campaign. Just walked all the way up from the Grand Canyon, from the bottom.
From the bottom to the top.
Oh, yeah, we did it. It's major. Oh, we major. We major? All right, let's get out of here.
All right,
Get out of here, man.
Yeah. Signing off.